And the European Union and the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, earlier this month signed 7 agreements worth about 212.4 million euros on promotion of trade and regional integration, energy interconnectivity, and renewable energy. Joining us to shed more light is Linda Ahigwe, Communications Advisor to the President of ECOWAS Commission. Great to have you on the show, and congratulations on your recent appointment.
Thank you so much, Ladi. Good to be here.
Fantastic. Great to have you on that side. Well, let's get into it now. Can you provide an overview of the 7 agreements signed between the European Union and ECOWAS? That's about 212.4 million euros, and highlight their key focus areas.
So essentially, this agreement between ECOWAS and the EU is to promote, integration, economic development and growth, in the West African sub-region, as well as food security and to enhance the electricity value chain among member countries. The agreement, the financing agreement, the amount you talked about is in different areas. The first one is the African trade competitiveness and market access, which is 50 million euros. And this agreement is intended to reduce or eliminate trade barriers, make MSMEs more competitive, enhance the capacity of SMEs to export along the export value chain, as well as, help them to negotiate the complex trade regulations along the way, which makes it difficult for them to export. Another agreement is the trade in services in sub-Saharan Africa, which is 11.5 million euros. And this is essentially to enhance intra-regional, intercontinental trade, as well as trade between West African countries and EU. We also have investments in the energy sector. Essentially, this is worth 25 million euros, and it is to advance the regional electricity market by improving the share of renewable energies. We know this will be launched next month, this electricity market where West African countries can begin to trade in electricity. Then there's the regional clean cooking strategy, which is 12 million euros, and this is to encourage clean, sustainable, affordable cooking solutions as a way of, protecting the lives of people in the region in terms of mitigating the harmful effects of climate change. We also have agreements covering migration and free movement of persons within the West African sub-region, which is one of the major objectives of ECOWAS, which it plans to meet, as well as the regional program to support pastoral economy, which is worth 60 million euros and which is intended to support livestock production in the West African sub-region.
Right, quite a number of agreements there, but in what ways do the signed agreements, contribute to stabilizing the ECOWAS region, particularly through the promotion of economic cooperation?
And so when you talk about stabilizing, we know that some factors which promote the stabilization of the region is food insecurity, economic downturn. And so these agreements are to be channeled into these areas to boost food security in terms of increasing the capacity of member states, the storage capacity of member states, and also increase, their capacity to fight food insecurity. And also, eliminating trade barriers, ensuring that member countries are able to export and increase the trade between ECOWAS member states, to the exports of ECOWAS member states to outside the continent, and also to equip SMEs with the skills to navigate the complex trade regulations which exist, help them standardization, help them to understand how to meet the standards, to meet the export standards, because when you're exporting goods and products from West Africa abroad, there are certain standards that need to be met. And some SMEs have had issues with these standards and these regulations, so financing is going into these areas to equip them with capacity to be able to meet the standards. So essentially this would help with diversification in ECOWAS member countries, increase trade, and boost the economy.
And what specific measures are outlined in the agreement, regarding, free movement of persons and migration? We see that's pegged about 34 million euros, to maximize the development potential within ECOWAS countries and promote a secure and rights-based regional integration process.
And so, Yolati, you know that each member country has their own migration policies. And so this financing will go into harmonizing the migration policies of each member state, create avenues for member states to speak to each other, on how this policy of migration and free movement of persons would work. The finance would also go into management of data, migration data, analyzing this data, as well as, building the capacity of border officials in recognizing harmful migration practices like migration of minors, illegal migration of minors, exploitation of minors, and cross-border crime, as well as, build the capacity of ECOWAS to begin to convene technical meetings on migration and movement of persons in the West African sub-region.
What would you say is put in place to make sure that these agreements are a win-win for the ECOWAS and the EU? There's no one is getting more advantage at this point. How do we make that happen?
What will make that happen will be for the ECOWAS member countries to take advantage of these agreements, get more SMEs involved in all the financial agreements, particularly as regards trade, removal of trade barriers, so that more SMEs in these member countries can export their goods intra-regional, intercontinental, and even outside the continent. And also, to really removing trade barriers, which is a very, very significant thing, because these trade barriers have, impeded the exportation of goods from West Africa to even within Africa, and not to talk about, outside the country. So it will be a win-win if, this ECOWAS member states and ECOWAS as a body is able to take advantage of this financial agreement to their benefits.
And what would you say, the Nigerian government should, be doing at this time to make sure that Nigeria as a country can benefit, from these agreements?
Sorry, I didn't get that, Ladi.
No, I'm saying, what should the Nigerian government be doing, at this time to make sure that we actually, benefit from this agreement signed between ECOWAS and the European Union?
I think that Nigeria as a country should really be on the table when these agreements are being rolled out, when these financial agreements, are being rolled out, be on the table, engage in all the technical sessions, because there'll be lots of meetings when these things are being implemented. So engage in the technical sessions, be on the table, and make sure that, you pay attention to what is being said and find out ways where Nigeria can key into these agreements, involve civil society, because we know that some of these agreements would involve building the capacity of civil society organizations. So we also need civil society organizations in Nigeria to key into all these programs to key into all these programs, essentially.
All right, the regional clean cooking action in West Africa, that's RACOA agreement, allocates about 12 million euros. How does this initiative intend to increase access to clean, efficient, and sustainable cooking energy solutions in West Africa? And what strategies are proposed for financing and promoting business models in this sector?
Yeah, so you said it, one of the key objectives of these clean cooking solutions is to advance innovative financing and business models, which essentially would ensure that clean cooking mechanisms and strategies are commonplace, that more entrepreneurs come into the system and take part in the entire value chain from the production, distribution, and consumption of these clean cooking strategies.
Definitely, Nigerians are dealing with rising energy costs, at this time. consumers are squeezed on all sides and having to pay so much for gas, for fuel, and all of that. So looking at these agreements, right, how do they, strategically, help at this point to reduce the burden on consumers at this time?
We know that one of the agreements has to do with clean energy and the regional electricity market. And we know that next month, ECOWAS would be launching, this electricity market where African countries can begin to trade electricity. And we hope that with this will reduce, this would help to combat the issues of electricity generation on the continent and in Nigeria.
All right, thank you so much, Linda Ibe, Communications Advisor to the President of ECOWAS Commission. Thank you so much for your input today. Thank you.